It's series 9 of the Dig podcast. And this is a very exciting series because the business clinic is back. And we bring the business clinic to you once in a while when we feel we really need that actionable advice from experts in lots of different fields. It's brought to you in partnership with Timely Careers, who are right behind us in that mission of bringing advice to people that they can actually put into practice and make changes in their lives and in their working lives as well. You can expect information on managing your finances, managing your relationships, so important, grabbing opportunity. We need to grab opportunity. There's no point in letting it pass us by. We'll only regret it. And also PR for your business. What is that and how do we make the most of it? So it's a really exciting podcast with some brilliant guests who want to help me and want to help you. So buckle up and get ready for the business clinic in partnership with Timely Careers.
I have the UK and Ireland's leading relationship coach, Lisa McFarland, who I also know personally now, but as a professional, she helps people all over the world really now, which is great. Digitally, she can reach anywhere, and she's helped so many people with their relationship issues. So what has that got to do with the Dig podcast? Well, a lot, because we're people who have relationships with our friends, our partners, and our children, and often they can become stressed and we can become anxious and maybe not be as happy as we could be in our lives. So I thought this was a brilliant guest to bring on the Dig podcast to help us all. Lisa recently spoke at an event, a short event, a short speaking gig at the Big Day Out, which is an event I run on Dig Mama. And the women in the room, like, it caused such a stir. One of the things that she actually suggested we should do, and we'll maybe talk about that towards the end of the podcast. But we're going to dive right in. Lisa, thank you for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
No, look, I was always intrigued anytime I met you and you were like your relationship coach. I was like, a relationship coach, a relationship? What the hell's a relationship coach? So what is a relationship coach?
It's just like, imagine a business coach, imagine a PT. I am a life coach and I choose to specialize in relationships. So life coaching in other parts of the world is very, very, very normal. We're a little behind the curve here in Ireland, but life coaching in other parts of the world is very, very, very normal. Very, very normal. So similar to a business coach, when I talk to couples, I'll say, this part of your relationship's working really well. This part's working okay. This part, just like in business, one part can be working really well, and another part or a department isn't working well. So it's about saying, right, this department isn't working well. What skill sets, what tools, what things do we need to put into that part? And when we get that part working really well, then it obviously affects the other part and the whole relationship gets better. There's a very well-known lady called Esther Perel, and her famous quote is, the quality of our relationships determines the quality of our lives. And we all know that. When you have had an argument with your best friend, are you the best employee? No. When you've had an argument with your partner, are you the best mummy? No. You know, if we can make these relationships really, really good and really strong and easier in a lot of ways, then our life becomes a lot easier.
And how are you a relationship coach? Why did you decide that this was, or how did this happen?
Because I had to go for relationship coaching. Because we have a business together and our business was going through a big, just as businesses do, a big transformation, and it just became all consuming to us. We had 2 teenagers and a 9-year-old at that stage. And it was just, and my mummy had passed away, so we didn't have any real support. And we just had got ourselves into a bit of a rut. We'd got ourselves into a bit of a rut, and we were just talking business all day long. I mean, I would have wakened my husband at 11 o'clock at night to say, oh, I forgot to tell you this happened today in work. That's not healthy, Caroline. That is not healthy. So just got to the stage where I was like, look, there must be something we can do here. And I contacted a lady and she was like, yes, absolutely. You too, you need a business coach and you need to be coached in your relationship. So this was about 9 years ago. And 9 years ago, this sort of thing was not really heard of here in this wee island. So we had a lot of shame and guilt about going. We didn't tell anybody. And then when we went, and we only went 3 times, and she just told us really practical things, and it just turned everything around for us. One, I was thinking to myself, right, that's ridiculous. The shame and guilt has to go. We've had enough shame and guilt. No more shame and guilt. We have to get past this. And then I just kept saying, everyone needs to know this stuff. Everyone needs to know this stuff. And my husband kept saying, yep, absolutely. Yeah. And then it's just
Amazing.
from there.
Well, we can't wait to hear the tips you're going to give us. We're not going to ask the tips that you got for your relationship because everybody's is different, I suppose. But in general, we'd love you to impart some of your knowledge with us, because when you're saying all of that, even though, say, for example, Jared and I, we don't work together, but all we talk about too in the evenings, we get the kids to bed, it's like, right, what were you doing today? What happened today? How did that, so we do talk about work a lot. I'm sure most people talk about work or their kids, and that's a lot. So I don't know, that's possibly not healthy.
And no, that's very normal but you're not emotionally involved in Jared, your husband's work. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Different when you work together and your partner says, oh, do you know what John did today? And you know what I said to him? When you're emotionally involved in that business, then what happens is we say things like, oh, if I was handling that, I would actually have done it like this. Where when your partner tells you about his business, you don't tell him, well, I would actually have done it like that. It's nothing to do. You know what I mean? You're not emotionally, you're just like, and you just get to enjoy the story. But when you have a company together and a business together, you have to. So one of the first things she told us was we weren't allowed to talk about our business after 6 o'clock at night. Well, Caroline, you should have seen us trying to find different things to talk about. That's how entrenched we were, you know?
I can imagine. So what are the key things that perhaps, not to disclose anything confidential, but what would be the key issues that partners would come to you with?
Well, we don't really know how to do healthy conflict. Okay. We all, maybe a small percentage of the population have grown up with parents who displayed healthy conflict. Okay. But generally, we don't really know how to do healthy conflict. We came up from mummies like mine who give the silent treatment, when they had fallen, when my mummy and daddy fell out, my mummy would give the silent treatment, not speak to my daddy, ask us to ask daddy to pass the salt, one of those ones. Or maybe we grew up with a mum or a dad that flew off the handle and slammed doors, or just, oh, I'm not talking about that anymore, and walked away. We don't really know how to do healthy conflict. And even if we saw our parents do healthy conflict okay, we never really saw them resolve it. There's very few parents that do that in front of their children. So we come into these new relationships and we've no idea how to do healthy conflict. And what happens is all couples will have what we call rupture. So every couple will have a disagreement, okay? And we need to learn and educate ourselves and monitor our nervous system while we stay in the emotional tunnel to get to repair. But what a lot of us do is jump out of that emotional tunnel, and then we kind of get to a fake repair, but we've never actually heard each other in the emotional tunnel. Saying the word you to your partner when something comes up, when there's a rupture, is the worst thing we can do. We have to say, I feel. This is how I feel. And the worst thing that your partner can say to you is, I'm sorry, you feel like that. That's very, very, very dismissive. We want our partner to say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you.
Okay.
Because we're all going to hurt each other. We don't mean to. I was 45 minutes late for my husband the other day. Did I mean to? No, but I just was. It was an accident. And when I got into the car and he said, babe, 45 minutes, seriously. Do you know what I said, Caroline? I said, don't feel like that. What? And he just looked at me and I went, oh, whoa, hold on. Let me just take that all back. Hold on a second. I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry. I just forgot time. I'm sorry. I am sorry. And you go on with your day. But we immediately go to defensiveness.
Yeah. Like, you're always saying I'm late, and you don't understand what I've had to do this morning to get here, and you don't know what the children did before and that's why I'm late. That's probably what I would have been coming out with. And then in turn, that's an argument.
Yeah. I'll tell you a funny one. So I have had my teeth straightened and whitened and all this palaver. Okay. So we'll talk about love languages in a wee minute, okay? Because they're really, really interesting. But one of my love languages is words of affirmation. Okay. So that's saying nice things. I like my partner to say nice things to me. I like my children to say nice things to me. But I also love through words of affirmation, okay? Because that's how we tend to love, how we want to receive love. And that's sometimes not how our partner wants to be loved. So that's something we'll talk about in a wee second. So I was affirming myself, Caroline, and telling, look at my lovely teeth. Aren't my teeth looking really well? And my husband said, let me have a wee look. And I gave him the big smile and he said, can't see any difference at all. And then he turned to the children and he said, can you see any difference in Mummy's teeth? And they, thank goodness, had the sense to say, oh yes, Mummy, they're looking great. He then turned around, Caroline, and said, and how much is this all costing? Well, can you imagine?
So let's hear it. How did you react to this?
So back in the day, I would have flown off the handle, and then shut down. Silent treatment. We call it in this country huffing, silent treatment, just totally disconnect. Okay. But I'm not allowed to do that anymore because I've paid lots of people lots of money to educate myself. So what we need to do is we need to register that in us, that feeling of, we call it the red mist descending. So the red mist descends, but we don't have to respond to that red mist. When that red mist descends, our nervous system has just gone out of control. We have just, lions and tigers and bears are coming, and we are just, cortisol and adrenaline is just running the show now. Okay. And that's when we say all those things that we shouldn't, and do those things we shouldn't. So whenever you feel that trigger, my thing is I take myself to the utility room, which seems to be the TARDIS for emotion. We do some breathing exercises and we get our nervous system calmed down and we say, why am I angry? What is it that's making me angry here? So I felt unseen, unheard, undermined, disrespected, and just a bit hurt. So my nervous system is now calm. I go to my partner and I say, babe, I need to talk to you about something. And our little trigger is, I need a safe place to land. So that means I'm coming in hot, like of something serious I want to talk to you about here. Okay. This is hard to do when you've got 3 children running around your ankles.
This is very hard to do. I'm not going to lie, Lisa. Like, I'm listening here and I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I need to really train myself here. So keep going.
I come to my partner and I say, when that happened about my teeth, so not when you were an absolute blah, 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 blah. Okay. When that happened about my teeth, I felt really undermined, hurt, sad, and unseen. And my partner, because he's done the work, says, I'm sorry, babe. I did not mean that at all. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm getting from all of this is always say I instead of you. So that'll explain why you're feeling that way instead of attacking them.
Also, I might have been able to say that to my husband about his teeth, and he mightn't have had the same feelings as me.
Yes.
We get into this thing where we think we have to feel the same way as each other. I could say something to you, Caroline, and it wouldn't bother you at all. And I could say something to my friend Terry, and it would offend her. Make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. So
But it's about also letting the nervous system calm down. We respond so much from this heightened nervous system. I mean, Jerry Hussey would talk so much about this. Let the nervous system calm down, because when we go into that fight or flight, it's just very lions and tigers and we must protect. We don't.
I know. So I think that in life we're busier than we've ever been, right? I do see that, and my mum would say that from someone, I suppose, in the next generation would say, like, I don't ever remember life being as busy for me as it seems to be for you. Now that could be rose-tinted glasses because she did have 6 children and I only have 3, so I don't know where. But I do think now, I think with the digital world, we're so busy all the time, we never really switch off. People can get us everywhere and our mind is frazzled, so our relationships do suffer. Our friends and our partners and our kids. How, I know you give us one example there, but how can we look after and nurture the relationships which are so important to us, Lisa? Any key tips?
Our relationship needs to come very high up on the totem pole. The couples I coach, and they'll say, You know, we never see each other. We don't have date nights. We don't have this. And I'll say, what's your work-life balance like? And they'll say, oh, I just started this new job. And I'll say, when does your computer close and your life start? Oh, no, I'm answering emails at 11 o'clock at night. You know, I was sitting here one evening on my phone and answering DMs at about 10:30. And my husband said, do you think that's the best example to be showing your people? And I was like, okay, I really don't like you right now. But I didn't say that. And I was like, it's not the best example to be showing the people. I'm sure it's not.
Does he mean, did he mean your children?
He meant the children, but also the people that are interacting with me. I'm telling them to make their relationship high on the priority list. And then I'm responding to DMs at 10:30 at night.
Very, very, very true. Yes. Okay.
Very wise, very annoying in the minute, Caroline. Very annoying in the minute, but very wise. You know, we're just so accessible now, aren't we? First thing I tell people is don't take any technology to the bedroom. And that's even a TV. I don't think that is a good thing. You know, we should be shutting down from those things. Get the kids to bed, watch a little bit of TV, have a cup of tea together, really connect every evening and have your 6-second kiss.
Let's talk about it. It's a kiss, is it? So I softened it to a hug or a kiss earlier when I was talking about it in social media. So talk to us about that 6-second moment of connection that you might have. What is that?
So the research, the science tells us that we actually live longer when we kiss our person. Isn't that mad?
What is mad?
So it gives us a lovely little dopamine hit when we kiss our person. I said to the ladies at the big day out, I was like, we need to explain to our partners, it's a standalone activity.
You see, that's the danger. And I know we're being humorous, but you know, yeah, so that's 6 seconds. And what does that mean? Like, what are we doing there?
Yeah. So it is the connection piece, okay? So as couples, we should be connecting. But Caroline, I'm not going to lie. Like I have couples who come to me that haven't been intimate for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I mean any sort of intimacy, holding hands, kissing, hugging. And once that stops, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's very difficult to get that back on track, whatever it may be, okay? So if we just try every day, 20-second hug, or a 20-second hug, or a 6-second kiss every single day. Making sure when you come home from work that your partner, you know, recognizes that you've come into the house, lifting our head to our partner, say, hey, honey, glad to see you home. Little things like that. We get married, we have children, and we forget to do all those lovely basic things that we did whenever we were dating. You know,
so true. And you know, like I hear these things. I know we're talking about partners here, and there's kids relationships and friends relationships as well. But I hear these people talking about date nights, and I like Jared and I don't do date nights, nor do I don't want to do a date night, Lisa. No harm. I am too, you know, I like being at home on the couch and watching TV and a wee cup of tea. That's my flipping date night.
And I would recommend to couples, try as much as you can to eat dinner with your children.
Yes.
A couple of nights a week. It's okay that your kids go on up to bed and you, Jared, have a wee date night. You know, you two aren't really going to start getting a babysitter in the middle of that new house and all that palaver, you know. Also, you know, can you go for a wee breakfast now and again when the kids are at school? You know, can you two eat your dinner later after the kids go to bed, have a cup of tea, have a chat? I would use this little tool called Fanos. Have you ever heard me
No.
this? So it's FANOS. I mean, you can do this as a connection piece when the kids are in the back of the car. So it's just checking in with each other. How are you feeling? I'm feeling grand. How are you feeling? I'm feeling grand too. Great. That's brilliant. A is for affirmation. So I loved it when you actually got Tess that new white t-shirt this morning. That was really helpful to me. Then Jared says back to you, look, Caroline, you've worked so hard in this new house. It's been great. You know, you're killing it. Okay. So we're affirming each other. Okay. It's really easy to be mean to each other sometimes. Affirming and giving each other a compliment, you know. Then needs. So like say you were doing this on a Sunday evening, you could say, look, I'm super busy on Tuesday. I'm doing this podcast with Caroline. Could you have any thoughts for the dinner? Because I'm super busy, you know, I need that wee bit of support this week. And then Nige says to me, I need a wee bit of support, blah, blah, blah. Brilliant. We're here for each other. We're partners. Ownership. Oh, look, see the other day when I said, don't feel like that. I'm really sorry about that. That was just a stupid thing to say. And our partner says, see the other day when I was really cross, I was really just hangry. That was what was wrong with me. And then S is for successes. Flip me, we have done well this last couple of months, haven't we? Getting this house built, moving to that. We've done well. We need to give ourselves a high five for that. Simple, simple, simple. But it's connection, connection, connection.
And communication is what I hear here. Talking.
Talking. How often
No.
do we talk at each other, not to each other?
This is hard work, Lisa, isn't it? Like, and I know there's moments when we burst out laughing here and we're being humorous about things, but if you want your relationship to be healthy and positive and last, you need to be talking every day, don't you?
Have you taken time off work, perhaps to have children, perhaps to look after an elderly relative, or time off for other reasons, and you want to get back into work, but you need something that's flexible and now meets your new way of living? Then you need to connect with Timely Careers. Timely Careers helps support women on that journey back to work, which can be hard. And it helps connect you with specialists who can help you look at your career and plan out where you want to go. It can help you with training. You can join online webinars, face-to-face workshops. It helps you build your peer groups and helps connect you with employers who actually offer that flexible working that you need to get back into the world of work. So if you want to find out more, definitely reach out to timelycareers.com. They want to help you get back into the work that you love.
But Caroline, raising children is hard work.
I know.
Raising children is hard work. Sometimes maintaining friendships is hard work. We've been given this narrative that our relationship should just happen and it should be easy peasy from the movies, from songs. It's not. You get out what you put in. Just with your kids, with your friend, with your business, all those things. All relationships can last for a couple of weeks of disconnection, maybe even a month of traveling, busy. Most relationships can sustain themselves for a few weeks, a month, even 6 weeks. But after that, Caroline, we really need to be thinking. I did a podcast with a guy a few weeks ago, and he told his wife, he's very successful under that, and he told his wife that he needed 6 months peace till he built his business.
Right.
And she was very good. And she said, okay, I've got the kids. You just work 12 hours days. We'll see you when we see you. You have at it. So he did. He took himself 6 months. I think it maybe ended up more like 8 months. Okay. And she was very good. And when the business was up and running and they settled back into their lives, they were totally disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they had to do all that work again. They had to go on the dates. They had to almost find each other again. So he was talking to me the other day and I said, now remember, this next project, what do you have to do every day? And I was like, kiss my wife every day, make 90 minutes a week for actual proper conversation and a date night. I was like, yes, yes, you must do that whenever you're building this new thing. You have to keep that connection piece.
Because if we all thought about it, at the end of the day, if my business or my work was gone tomorrow, yes, I'd be sad. But if my partner was gone, I would never recover in my eyes.
Absolutely.
So you have to think like, what's more important to you? And, you know, like I just think this is fantastic. And I think in years gone by, people didn't, as you say, look at these things or even talk about it. They just fell out and huffed and grew apart and then perhaps separated or divorced or whatever, or just was unhappy for the rest of their lives, right?
The data tells us now that 50% of couples will divorce.
Oh my goodness.
The other 50%, half of them live miserably.
Is there anybody happy?
So a quarter of the people who get married are happily married.
Okay.
They probably have a relationship coach. Or they've done some sort of therapy and some sort of work on themselves to really maintain this relationship with themselves too, putting ourselves high on the totem pole. We talked about that at the big day out as well. Putting ourselves high on the totem pole and putting our relationship high on the totem pole. Okay. So then, wait to hear this one. All those people who get divorced, 85% of them will remarry in 5 years. Because we are wired for connection. But imagine having a business, it going bankrupt, and then within 5 years, you just jump back into that same business without educating yourself on how to do it.
Yeah.
And now you're carrying all the baggage from your previous business.
No, not a good recipe for success. So what about then arguments? It's inevitable, as you say. Like, I'm sure we've all, even people who are listening to this podcast now, have had an argument either last night, this morning, or last week, and are still reeling from it. How can we stop it spiraling out of control? And I know you've touched on that. Is there any other key things? Because it's only normal, right?
Absolutely normal. You need to know what your attachment style is. Okay. There are 3 attachment styles: secure, anxious, and avoidant. Okay. It's our job to go on our personal journey and become as secure as we possibly can. But when we get into conflict, one of these will show up. Anxious. So the anxious person will want to talk about it all day long till next week. Why did that happen? Why did you say that? How can we never let that happen again? And that was me. And then when my partner was avoidant, because I was going on and on and on, and he would start saying, can't talk about this anymore, Lisa, then I would shut down. Okay. So it's about recognizing those patterns within us and saying to each other, okay, I'm getting really anxious now about this. Can we just talk about it for 20 more minutes? And then I promise I'll put it to bed. Okay. Our partner then saying, I want to avoid this conversation like the plague right now, but I love you and I'm happy. I'm going to try my hardest to sit in this with you. Yeah. And once we get better and better at it, Caroline, it gets easier and easier and it gets less and less. It is really difficult at the start. It is really difficult at the start. One of my girls had her friend over here a couple of months ago, and Nigel and I had a disagreement about something. And my big girl was just sitting eating her cereal. And her friend said, let's go. Come on, I've seen this before. Let's go, let's go. And our big girl said, oh no, wait till you see it now. It's so boring. Because I let them sit in us having conversations. I let them see us do really healthy emotional chatting to get the repair. Now, my girls are 22 and 21. So, we don't need to do that with children, but they need to know that. But if we can make that easier, that's better. We must also know that women connect emotionally, men connect physically. So we have to get both of those things going at the same time. The amount of couples that say to me, if we could just get our sex life back on track, everything would be fine. And the women who say, if he would talk to me and communicate with me, then we'd be fine. And it's both, Caroline. It's both. And it's knowing that we need both in our relationships.
Yeah. And like, I'm sitting listening to this, and probably, like, I think 75% of the people who listen to the Dig podcast are female. But we need to encourage our either female partner or our male partner or our partner, whatever, to listen to this too, because you can't do this by yourself, because you could be saying, right, I'm going to, emotionally detach myself from the situation and be more and figure out where the red mist is and go to the utility room. But if your partner has no clue what you're up to, then it's kind of futile. So this is a conversation that we need to open up to everybody in the family, right?
I'll tell you this wee story. Yeah. And see, in the car or something, if you're with a man, car journeys are really good for listening to this sort of thing, because they can emotionally jump in and out. Okay. Side by side. Also, if you're a woman and you're with a man, side by side conversations work really, really well. If you even watch 2 men standing talking to each other, men do not stand front on to each other. Men stand like off center to each other, Women stand face to face. Okay. So walking, that sort of thing, if you're with a man. Okay. So years ago, when I went to therapy after my mum passed away, I came home one night and I said, sweetheart, just wanted to say, whatever you're paying this woman, could you pay her double? Because it's really working. So it's about our partner seeing a change in you, seeing a development in you, and then that encourages them to go, oh, there's something in this. It's very easy, Caroline, to say, if they would just change, then I wouldn't behave like this.
Yeah.
But it's about doing that work on ourselves, and then hopefully our partner will see the work we're doing and think, something to this, you know?
And there is, like, everything you're saying makes perfect sense. It's just when you say it out loud like that, it really hits home when you're like, God, I'm not really a good person some days, whatever the way I react to things.
Oh, Caroline, your children are little. When I started my journey, my teenagers were maybe this turned teenagers, and I used to. So it was £60 to see the lady that I saw, and I wasn't working very much at that stage. So I remember taking £10 a week after I did the Tesco shopping and putting it in the back of my purse. So when I had 6 of those £10, then I would book in again. And I remember my Lara saying, "Mummy, Mummy," and I was like, "Yes, Lara. Is it nearly time to see the lady again? Because you're really much better when you see the lady."
They know, they knew.
I know. If you were to ask me a parenting hack, I would, if I could go back, I would do the work on myself sooner.
Okay, so talk about that. Because I have that down on my list here, about more positive relationships with our children, because they're probably the most at the forefront of everything that's going on. They're who we put first. So how do we maintain a healthier relationship, or what does that look like?
Taking a break in the middle of the podcast just for a little second to ask for your help. Over the past 9 series, I've been overwhelmed by your support. There's so many of you listening, thousands of thousands every month listening to the actionable advice, but still some people haven't subscribed or followed on the channel that they're listening. So if you're listening to this and you think, that's me, I haven't done that, it would be brilliant if you could just take a second and hit follow on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or if you hit the subscribe button on YouTube. It means that the Dig Podcast can keep growing and can keep getting great guests on that can actually help change our lives. Thank you, and let's get back to the business clinic.
Well, that what we talked about, a rupture, staying in the emotional tunnel, which we do with our kids. You know, we literally sit on the floor with them while they're having a temper tantrum. We do this with our kids. But imagine if we could teach all our children how to do that in their grown-up relationship. Wouldn't that be magical? Be absolutely magical. And I didn't know that stuff until my girls were about 11 and 12. I think I was a good mum. But I think if I could change anything, I would go back and do that work on myself and really prioritize myself a bit more. I was definitely back from the generation of, as long as everybody else is happy, make sure everybody else has got everything, then make sure everybody, and mums come last, I mean, if the kids are happy, you'll be happy. And I had no idea how to fill my own cup, how to love and accept myself, to know my enoughness. I didn't know any of that until I started to do the work through therapy and coaching and things like that. And I know it's counterintuitive to put ourselves at the top of the pile. But as I said at the big day out, when are we the best mums? When we feel good about ourselves. When are we the best lovers? When we feel good about ourselves. When are we the best daughters, sister, all that sort of stuff. Brothers, aunties, uncles. When we feel good about ourselves. Now, we need our family to help us sometimes when we're not feeling great about ourselves and to build us up again. But it is an internal job,
Yeah. And I suppose, like you said, everybody has different ways of reacting to things. Like, I'm a shouter, slam a door. I know some people are like, what do you slam doors? But that, for some reason, that's how I slam doors. And then I'm like, oh my God, I slammed the door in front of the children. They're gonna slam doors when they get older. But I think what you've opened it up is, if you can try to get in before that all happens, then we could stop that.
Catching it in the body, Caroline. Catching it in the body. Now, you might have to do something like go and scream into a pillow. Better than slamming a door, yeah. Screaming into a pillow. You might want it has to release, it has to get out. And I saw you saying about crying. Have a good cry.
Oh, I'm pure crier, Lisa, though, no, to the point of nobody even cares if I cry anymore, because I cry all like, used to be, if you cry, oh, what's wrong now? I just cry. I just can't. I am a very emotional person. I don't know. I probably do need to go to therapy, like, definitely.
Everybody should go to therapy. Everybody should go to therapy.
Everybody should, yeah. I listened to a podcast with Simon Kyle, and he was a great advocate for going to therapy. He highly recommends it. But this couple therapy, this relationship therapy that you're doing is key to us being happier and healthier. So I think it's fantastic. What about, like you said, like filling up your cup? Like, what are the key things that we can be doing for ourselves so that we're a better mummy, a better partner, a better sister, friend, whatever? What are those things?
Some things might be like getting up before the kids get up and going for a walk. Listen, Caroline, when mine were little, if I got a shower, I thought I was doing well, you know? But I mean, it is prioritizing your needs. Maybe going for a walk, maybe having coffee with a friend, maybe having alone time, maybe reading that book, maybe finishing that sort of thing. When we went on our journey, our therapist said to my husband, "How do you fill your cup?" And he said, "I don't know." And she said to him, "You know what I mean? You know, in the airplane, when the oxygen mask comes down and they say, put your oxygen mask on first and then help your family." And he said, "I don't know where my oxygen mask lives."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Caroline, that broke my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Broke my heart. He was doing everything for everybody, the business, us, the kids, and he forgot to look after himself. You know,
And
find out.
what is it? As you say, is it like it can be anything that just makes you feel
Well,
more like yourself?
he took up running, you know, the park run on Saturday mornings. He took that up. Now he cycles. But even just knowing that he'll like say things like, "My cup is feeling a little empty. I know I need to fill my cup." Where we would have been quite codependent and dependent on each other to fill our cups, unhealthy. You have to be able to fill your own cup. Yes, of course, spending time with your partner makes you feel good and all that sort of stuff. And you need to cuddle when we're feeling down or feeling low, or we've had a bad day at work, all that sort of stuff. We're partners, you know, we're meant to be in this together. But it is really important that we know how to fill our own cup, not be dependent on our partner to fill our cup. Because what if your partner's cup is empty? Now we're in real trouble. Now we're in real trouble.
I know, it's so true. And when you think about how hard we work in our work, are we working hard at home with everybody and even with friends as well? It can be so hard to keep those friendships going when all of this is going on. It's like, right, your family's your priority, your kids, your husband, you're trying to work hard at that, or your partner, your work, and then your friends who are so important. You know, that can be hard to.
Here's a wee tool for you. And you can use it with your partner and use it with your friends, okay? So you know how you just know when your friend or your partner is just not quite themselves. You know how you just kind of can sense it sometimes, you know, or the kids, you know. I use this a lot with my children and their teenagers. Say to our partner or a friend, "So if 10 was the best you've ever felt in your life, and 1 was the worst." So you don't have to say that over again. They know what the status is now. So say, "Can you give me," so you say to Jared, "Can you give me your number for today, Jared?" And he might say, 6. So now we know, like he's not up there at a 10, okay? He's a 6. Can you give me your number for how you're feeling today? And he's like, "Blah." And your response is, "I'm here for you if you need me. If you want to watch a movie, if you want to go walk, I'm here for you if you need me. Get these kids to bed, I'm here for you if you need me." But what we like to do is say, "Well, you see, if you would just do this and if you would just do that," and you see, "if you do," and we like to fix, and we like to fix, and we like to fix. All we have to do is let our friends and our partner know we're here for them. And then they know we're open and ready. It's as simple as we tool, and it works beautifully for teenagers. Really, really, really well. Really well.
For teenagers. So that's just I don't
because
have one yet. So I'm like trying to figure out what that looks like.
they don't have all the words yet. So if you say, "Can you give me a word for how you're feeling today?" and they just say, "Blah," that's all right. We all remember being like that as a teenager, you know? Another little thing to do is find out what your love language is. It's a free test online. You go online, you put in free 5 love language test, okay? Now, Caroline, you will know what your friends' love languages are because it's how they love you. So I have a friend, and every time you meet her, she has a little present for you. A little silly gift, just tiniest wee thing, okay? Her love language is gifts because that's how she loves me. Make sense? We probably know how our partners, what our partner's love language is, because how they love us. So it's time, touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, gifts, okay? Sometimes people will say to me, "Oh my dear goodness, she just wants to hold my hand all the time. She just wants to cuddle all the time." And I'm like, "Oh my days." her love language is touch and their love language is not. It doesn't make them right or wrong. It's just what it is. Saved my life with my teenagers. My eldest girl, her and I, we have the same love language, time and words of affirmation. So she'd come home from school and she had to have my full attention for 20 minutes while she just went off on one for 20 minutes about who said what and who did what. So my other daughter, I just presumed would be the same. So then I'd be like, Lara, how was your day? And she'd just look at me like, what's happening? Lara needed to decompress when she came home from school, and her love language is acts of service. So she needed to go to her room. Then I would take her up a cup of tea and 2 digestives. Sure, who wouldn't love that? And then she'd say, Mum, I sure sit down there. Did you hear what happened today? Blah, blah, blah. And you can do the love language test with your children from their 4 years up.
Mm. And you nearly, like, you're saying all that and I'm immediately thinking about my kids, and I feel like I don't even need the test. I know straight away who needs what in the evenings when they come in. You're so right. I have a boy that wants to tell me all, and another boy, I'll not hear from him to 7, and then he blurts it all out. So that's so true. And it's about knowing how to react to it, and instead of saying, you're very quiet, there's something wrong with you, blah, 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 and then the next thing. So it's so true. You have to be so intuitive and you have to be so on the ball, don't you? To understand all this.
But there are these wee tests now that will help us, that will help us. But I mean, it's just, and it's lovely watching your children grow up and developing into these unique humans. It's just so lovely. It's just so lovely. It's really, really lovely. It's my
Lisa,
joy.
this is like you could dive deep into each topic, but I think, like, when you said the 6-second thing at the big day out, and we all laughed and had the crack and all, and the crack was good, and we talked about it all night, and it developed into more deeper conversations the more the night went on. But there's something in it. There's that's, I think, like, we lost that hug, that hug, we lost it, and that's normal.
I mean, you're always right about being so busy. Like, we're so busy, we don't even acknowledge our partner when they come into the door.
No, that's true. And that's not good. Like,
I had a beautiful text from a girl one day, and she said, I heard you talking about that on Instagram, and I just thought, I get really cross about that. They're working at home all day long and they don't even come down. So she said to her partner about it, and they said, I actually thought I was giving you time to, like, put the kettle on, and she was like, no, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I want to see you when I come home from work. So every single day, he sets himself a little alarm to come down the stairs just to say hi. I think she must work nights and he works days. Just to say hi. How was it? And he goes back up. She said, he just texted me today. He heard the car pulling in and he texted to say, babe, I'm on a call, but I will be down in a wee minute.
Oh.
I mean, it's just the tiniest things.
It is. It's just to be seen, isn't it? To feel seen, as you said, like to feel like you're still somebody or something.
What we want is to be seen and heard. I was at the Pink concert on Friday night, and Nige went off to get drinks and whatever. And I was sitting there thinking, this would be a great concert. But being with somebody at it, friends, partner, I mean, it just makes it an awesome concert.
Unreal.
We're wired for connection, but we don't get any education on how to do it.
So
and
right.
I'm going to change that.
You absolutely are. And I've had a few encounters with you now, and I love it. I love what you do. You're not afraid to say it, and you do make people think. Like, my mummy was at the big day out, she was like, what's a relationship coach? What's that? And all. And then when I could see all the, even the older ladies, sitting in reflection thinking, God, I wonder when the last time and even the young girls as well, but she was more open to it after as well. And I'm sure my daddy was thinking when she came home, what the hell's happened to her? But it's a great conversation. I think it's so much needed. And I think you're doing amazing things. There's people listening to this and they're really going to need some more help. Like, I feel like I can put things into action after just talking to you. But for anyone who feels they need more support, where can they find you, Lisa?
So Instagram's best place to find me, relationship.coaching.ni. If you're with somebody, and they won't come to couples coaching is the best thing ever. I have a mentorship program. It's 3 sessions, and then you get my online course and you get to contact me in between sessions. But if your person won't come for the mentorship program, I have an online course. And if you DM me, I'll give you the discount code. And I've just launched my new online course. So my original one is called Revive. So it's for a couple who need to revive things. And my new one that's just launched a couple of weeks now is called Starting Strong. And I'm really going to push that for people who are getting engaged, who are moving in together. We need these tips and tools at the beginning of the relationship.
I love that. We're going to link all of that in the show notes for anyone who's out running or driving and can't take those details down. You can go into our show notes on Apple or Spotify and YouTube and connect with Lisa that way. And we will also, on all the micro content, tag Lisa as well. Lisa, thank you for being our relationship coach today on the Business Clinic of the Dig podcast. You're such a lovely person, as well as being very knowledgeable in your field. Just a nice person that, like, you know, you just have those warm eyes when you meet you. And, you know, it's nice to meet people like that sometimes. It's not all about themselves. You're very much about helping other people and being a nice person as well. So thank you for sharing your time with us today and your knowledge.
Thank you so much, Caroline. That's lovely.